Millz here, MMA Locker Room here with Pick Dawgz. UFC Bet with me. We're back. We're going to be going over all the fights on the UFC Denver card. We got a main event headlined by Namajunas taking on Tracy Cortez. We got a lot of fights on here that just got thrown together too. A lot of short notice fights on here. So let's go ahead, man. And can't wait to get this week started, man. We had 1 week off last week because the week before that we smashed, man. UFC 303. We was out there, man, at the Las Vegas International Fight Week. Didn't have the Conor McGregor on the main event, but we had to settle for the Alex Pereira and, Yuri Prochazka fight. But look, man, we smacked it out there, man. We went 11-2 on our picks and predictions out here. Man, Ian Gary looked like money in the bank. You know, Oliveira, the big underdog to start off the fight. That's how I knew we were going to be rolling in the money, man. And I was out there in Vegas, playing it live out there too. So it was a great weekend, man. It's nothing like making money out there, especially out there in Vegas with the fights. But hey, man, that was last week. Hit a lot of picks on there, won a lot of money. That's not going to pay the bets for us this week. It's all about getting everything correct this week. 11-2. Ain't good enough, man. I'm trying to get everything perfect this week, okay? I don't want to lose anything, man. Honestly, man, like I hate losing a pick. Worse than that, I hate losing money. And worse than that, I hate losing a bet. So let's go ahead and get it started, man. UFC Bet with me. Let's go ahead. First fight of the night. This one just got put together on short notice. Montel Jackson, 13-2, taking on Damon Blackshear, 14-6-1. Montel Jackson's usually a big favorite whenever he fights out there. Something to where you always have to parlay him, just if you want to get some action with him. Now, he's all the way down to like a -140, -155 on the price tags out there, okay? This is the story with him. He went from the projects to an MMA prospect. And he only fights like once a year, so you're not really familiar with him too much. But the thing that you should be familiar with is striking is top tier, fast fighter out there. He has power in his hands, can knock you out. His cardio is decent too as well. His length gives people problems in this division because he got that reach and everything like that. But he struggles with this takedown sometimes. And, it showed in other fights, like, if opponents can get him down to the ground, they can give him problems. Damon Blackshear, on the other hand, man, this guy's been fighting more active than the average man in this division, man. Last time out, he was facing on Mario Bautista in a fight that he just had another fight like a week before and took that fight on short notice. Wasn't able to get the win. But in this fight, you got the matchup styles that you're going to have one guy that's going to be going for takedowns. That's Damon Blackshear. He's definitely good at that. And I think if he gets Montel Jackson down to the ground, he'll be able to control him for half of the round in here, man. The striking on Damon Blackshear is good as well. He's been coming along. I've seen this guy fight live against Yusuf Salal, and that fight went to a draw. And ever since then, he's been improving fight by fight, fight by fight. Man, I think this is a better fight on the card. I don't know why it's the first one to kick off the fight of the night, but I like the dog in this one, man. Give me Damon Blackshear, man. I think when it comes down to it, he will be able to push that pace in the later rounds in here. And the striking is solid as well. Get those takedowns. Let's get the submission, man. Third round submission. Damon Blackshear, first dog of the night. All right, second fight of the night. Andre Petroski, 10 wins and 4 losses, taking on Josh Frimm, 11-5. Andre Petroski, last fight out, hasn't been going good for this guy, man. 0-2 in his last 2 fights out. One fight, he lost against Michel Pereira, taking out on short notice. And the other fight, I forget who it was against, but he ended up knocking himself out going for a takedown in here. Josh Frimm, on the other hand, let's see. What do I remember about this guy, man? What was it? Jamie Pickett? I think his last most recent fight that I'm scratching the surface is Jamie Pickett. In a fight that he was a big favorite. He got the win, but he didn't look impressive, man. And then he got the win over SD Dumas as well, too, earlier on, too, in here. In this fight, though, the line is right. It's a pick 'em for a reason, man. -110 on either side on here. And you got 2 fighters that resemble the same, man. Both these guys are kind of wrestlers, grapplers, that like to clinch you up against the cage, get you down to the ground. Striking is not their thing. In here, though, man, I like Andre Petroski in here, man. I think the price tag is warranted where I could go to the betting window with this and say, hey, win or lose at a -110. Andre Petroski, I think he does have some upside, you know, in here. It is going to be at elevation in Denver. That does favor Josh for him. I want to say that's going to be his hometown in here. He's probably going to have a little bit more emphasis to more stuff to fight for in the crowd in here, but my pick is my pick, and it is what it is. I like Andre Petroski in that one to get it done, and I think that one's going to go the distance. So if you guys are looking for a parlay piece, fight go the distance in that one for sure. Next fight taking place, Lana Santos taking on Maria Agapova. 7-1 for Lana Santos, Maria Agapova 10-4. The betting windows, you got Lana Santos at like a minus, what, 400 now? She opened up at like a -260, -270. On here, Maria Agapova is 0-2 in her last 2 fights in the UFC, but that's against girls who's, you know, top tier in here, you know. Lost against Julian Robinson, and I forget who else she lost against, but in here, you got clash of styles in here. You got the more explosive striker, Maria Agapova. That's a Muay Thai striker out here. You know, when she came into the UFC scene, she was a big prospect in here. Didn't live up to it. Didn't live up to the price tag in here. You know, in none of her fights. Lana Santos, though, she's a girl who's still trying to, you know, get her breath in this UFC cage, if you want to say. You know, a -400 favorite, too high for my liking, but I did do a parlay with her earlier on when she was at that -270 price tag in here. One thing that she has going for her is her grappling and submission skills, and that's the one thing that Maria Agapova just struggles with in here. So the path to victory for Lana Santos, take her down to the ground, overpower her, and, you know, Maria Agapova, man, the way that she's been getting subbed in her last couple of fights, she's been familiar with that, so she might just get that tap and go out of there. So I think Lana Santos wins, and to be specific, I think she wins inside the distance by sub. All right, next fight taking place. This one's a good one, man. This one just got put together too, man. Joshua Van taking on Charles Johnson in here, man. Joshua Van's a -200 on the books. Charles Johnson in here, you could get some nice plus money on him. Let's talk about it though, man. This fight got thrown together because Joshua Van's opponent pulled out, and Charles Johnson's been itching for a fight again, coming off of winning his last fight out against Jake Hadley. He's over here. He wants to fight somebody. He wants to be ranked in that top 15. Man, this is going to be one of the better fights on the card, too. It should have been on the main card. Striker versus striker in here, man. Charles Johnson was a 2-time division champ in LFA before he came to the UFC. First, they've been trying to feed him to the wolves and stuff like that. But, man, sometimes in these animals, in these you know, in these cages, they fend for themselves. And, you know, the wolves came out, and Charles Johnson been able to get some wins now and extend his contract, and, you know, looking on the upside now a little bit. Joshua Van, he's been on that upside. He's one of those guys that fights in the first round, no matter what happens, and then comes back and like finishes opponents so far in the UFC. I like what he's been doing in there, man. I'm a big fan of his too. When it comes down to it though, I think Charles Johnson, he's going to be the taller fighter in here. He's going to have the reach advantage in here. He's going to be the faster fighter in here. He's going to have more paths to victory to win. I think if he mixes in the wrestling in here, it can make it a little bit easier on here. Joshua Van is not really all the way a well-rounded fighter compared to Charles Johnson is. The power is probably going to be on Joshua Van. The volume's going to be hand in hand. But I got to go with Charles Johnson, man. I like the dog money in here, and I think he can win, you know, by just turning it on with that fight resume and fight IQ in here, man. So let's go ahead and go get it, man. Charles Johnson, the dog of the day for the UFC Denver card. All right, man. Next fight on the card. This one just got thrown together, too. Jasmine the Vicious taking on Fatima Coline. Jasmine the Vicious was supposed to be taking on, who was it? Vivian Arroyo. She pulled out. Now here comes Fatima Coline. She was supposed to be fighting on the Dana White Contender Series up and coming. Former CFFC champion. Know a few things about her. Seen her last 2 fights in there. She's a heavy type of grappler that wants to go out there and submit you, but she doesn't really get the submissions in her fight. She usually goes to the decision and the scorecards, but she's a heavy grappler that, you know, is improving. Her 1-2s are decent. You know, her striking defense though is the thing that kind of worries me in here. She hasn't been able to, you know, really put down display by fighting good strikers in here. Jasmine the Vicious, she's overall a great great, not great. She's good at a lot of things, okay? And she has that dog in her to where if she's losing the fight, she can make adjustments as the fight's going. Her last fight against Tracy Cortez, she was able to turn it up in that third round, you know, even though Tracy Cortez was already up 2-1 at that 2-0 at that point. But, you know, she has that dog in her. And a fight before that, I said I'm never going against Jasmine again. But here I am. And I think Fatima Coline's as advertised, man. The betting odds opened up at like a -115. I think she's getting money in on her now. She's up to like a -120 out here. Look, Jasmine is not going to be able to do the same things that she does to her other opponents because Fatima Coline's going to be looking for that and expose her on that. So with that, if it stays on the feet, I think Coline's going to be able to get that wrestling, get that going. I think she wins by the decision on the scorecards. Let's go ahead and get it, though, man. I really think Fatima Coline's going to be somebody to watch in the UFC. She got a hard fight to get in, but now she ain't got to worry about taking that Dana White Contender Series fight and worried about getting a contract or anything like that. She's in, and, you know, I think she's going to be able to get that win. Next fight taking place on the main card, man. All right, but before we go on the main card, I need everybody out there to smash that like button for me one time. Add some comments and likes. Let me know what you guys are betting on this week. And, hey, let me know exactly how you guys are going to knock out this card for the main event. I mean, not main event, main card, because it's going on and it's getting started with some heavy hitters, man. AbdulRazak Khazan taking on Cody Brunson in here. All right, AbdulRazak Khazan's a -150 on the books. Cody Brunson, you can have him out of like +130. Both of these fighters have gas tank issues, right? You can't trust them. And you know after the first round, it can go either way. But in this one, I like AbdulRazak Khazan. I think that he's going to be able to get it done in here, you know, and get the KO in round 2. Cody Brunson is going to be live in round 1. And after that, sometimes he looks for an easier way out the fight. AbdulRazak Khazan, he's going to be looking for a finish in round 1 and round 2. The fight now elevation is going to favor Cody Brunson, you know. He does have the better fight camp, you know. He does train with the better people and stuff. But when he goes into that cage, sometimes he just doesn't perform like he got it. Said could be said against Abdul. But I'm going to just be honest with you guys. When it came down to this, I looked at all the lines on the card, and I said, all right, man. I said, the only way I can see AbdulRazak Khazan losing is by pulling guillotine or something, you know, or I mean, by losing by Cody Brunson by guillotine. Besides that, AbdulRazak Khazan can win by knocking him out. I think he'll get the submission. And if it goes to the scorecards, I think it's going to be for Razak Khazan too. So, in other words, that's why I bet him, though. All right. Next fight on the card, Christian Rodriguez taking on Julian and Rosa. All right, Christian Rodriguez, second fight now at the 145 division. This is the thing. He's a -220 favorite. He's the guy that's been spoiling everybody's parlays and everybody's plays recently, man, because he's been taking out all the prospects who's supposed to win. Taking out Rahal Rose Jr. Who else did he take out? Cameron Simon. Who else did he take out? He just took out Isaac Dargarian, too. This guy's as advertised, man. He came from Anthony Pettis' fight promotion and fight team and fight gym, you know, over there in Milwaukee with Duke Rufus and stuff like that. And he got it, man. He got the goods. But I'll be honest with you, I've never been on the right side of him so far. And in this one, they're kind of giving him a guy to where they said, hey, you've been beating everybody as an underdog. Now you're a favorite. Go out there and get it done. But Julian Erosa, he's not a guy that you can just go out there and think that you can coast it, not show up. Because he's going out there to finish you. And even when Julian Erosa's down, he still can come back and finish you, man. He's a long-rangey strike fighter, but he keeps his hands down a lot. But that submission might be live. I think this one's going to go to round 3 in here. That's my best bet in here, round 3 to start. But I do like Christian Rodriguez in here as well. So let's go ahead and the pick's going to be Christian Rodriguez. But for the people out there, this is the one, not the one, but this is a fight to where I look and I say, sometimes when you got a dog on the other side, you don't want to bet against them. The other week, I think it was somebody versus Nicholas Dalby. And I was just like, man, you just don't want to bet against Nicholas Dalby just as a dog, right? You know, and then this is another guy, though, Julian Rosa. Sometimes you don't want to bet against him. If you guys are looking for a good dog out there and somebody that's going to fight for your money and be live, that's Julian Rosa in this spot. Next fight taking place. Gabriel Bonfim taking on Angelus. All right, man. Gabriel Bonfim let everybody down last time out, man, because he was the guy that lost to Nicholas Dalby, and he was a big favorite. Angelus, he let everybody down, too, because he was the guy that fought Brian Battle in his last time out and stopped the fight because of an eye poke. But really, his eye wasn't hurt. He was just getting beat up, and he didn't want it out the fight in the second round. Okay. Gabriel Bonfim's a -300 favorite on here. A lot of people is looking away from him because they're saying he gassed out in his last fight. Look, I'm going to compare it to it like this. Don't judge him just on one fight and what happened one time. He has 15 wins, folks. Everybody, you know, it doesn't show up sometimes and gas out. It's just like that girl one time that you date. Sometimes you show up, sometimes you don't. But, you know, in her head, she's probably going to hold that against you her whole life. Same thing they do in this fight game. You know, if you lose one time and you gas out, they're going to go back to that one fight against Nicholas Dalby and say, remember that one time you gassed out against him. No matter what happens, he could win 5 fights from here. Me, I got to parlay with Gabriel Bonfim and Luana Santos, man. It is what it is. I think Angelus is a good fighter, though. You know, but he just doesn't pull the trigger in there. And in here, I think if he tries to pull the trigger, he's going to get submitted. So Gabriel Bonfim by submission. Hey, if you guys want to get a little bit juicier, let's go ahead and get the submission parlay. Gabriel Bonfim by submission, Luana Santos by submission. Whew, whew, whew. Imagine the ticket. Let's see, because I'm going to be playing it by fight night. All right. Next fight to go. This one's going to be a good one. Also just got thrown together. Drew Dober taking on Gene Silva, man. Drew Dober was supposed to be fighting somebody, I forget who, and his opponent pulled out. It's a pick 'em on the lines. The price is right on either side, right? Okay. Drew Dober, man, he's the guy that's going to, you know, have probably the better fight resume. As we all know, been in the UFC forever, fought people like Islam Makhachev, you know, and Bobby Green. But he's going to have the better finish ability. We know Drew Dober could throw with anybody. We've seen him finish everybody. Striking ability, I don't really know. Gene Silva's live too. Cardio, Drew Dober probably so. Wrestling, and Drew Dober. But Gene Silva's just dangerous and vicious in here, man. I played Gene Silva in his last fight out against Charles Jourdain. He's taking this fight on short notice at a higher weight class, folks. I think he had a fight, UFC 303. Now he's on this card fighting in a higher weight class. I like him in this spot. -110. I think he's going to get it done. Just because Drew Dober, his chin been tested time and time again. You got a new guy in here. And Gene Silva, he's training at that team Fight Nerds over there in Brazil. They got those guys really, you know, doing some good things over there, and everybody's putting together wins. This is another one right here. I want to say went from the projects to a prospect in here. All right, co-main event time. Santiago. All right, man. Muslim Salikov taking on Santiago Ponzinibbio, man. Sometimes whenever I see the names on the screen, I act like it ain't a name I know and I can't read it. Let's go. All right, Ponzinibbio is the favorite in there. -200 on the Bucks. Both these guys are a little bit older, okay? And both these guys like to stand and strike. That's what it's going to be. But Muslim Salikov, man, his last time out, he got knocked out by Randy Brown. It didn't look good, man. It didn't look good at all. Ponzinibbio, his last fight out, he was fighting Kevin Holland. He was looking real good, looking real good. Then he got knocked out. So either way it go, both these guys got knocked out in their last fight, right? I like fight not going the distance for here, for sure. But in here, I got to be honest, man. I like the dog. I like Muslim Salikov, man. I think he can step back and counter, stand in the pocket, mixing the takedowns a little bit. And if he does, man, Ponzinibbio is there to be hit. If this goes to the later rounds, yes. Muslim Salikov, I think, will get tired and just, you know, won't be able to fight the whole 15 minutes at a pace, at elevation with Ponzinibbio. But the pick is Muslim Salikov. I don't know if I'm getting to the window yet with it because, like I said, I could see Ponzinibbio like lighten him up just because Muslim Salikov got knocked out by Randy Brown, and Randy Brown isn't a guy who really packs power when he punches. But Ponzinibbio is, you can say the same thing about him. He keeps his hand down, and when he gets hit, he doesn't take it well. You know, and he only fights one way. So both these guys are gonna be slow out punching too. But I like the dog in this one, man. Give me Kung Fu Panda, Muslim Salikov, man. He's going to shock the world and get the upset, man. Let's go. All right, man. The main event now. Main event's going to be a good one. Rose Namajunas taking on Tracy Cortez. Rose Namajunas was supposed to be taking on Macy Barber. She pulls out, and within short notice time, Tracy Cortez steps in. Tracy Cortez was supposed to be fighting the following week against Miranda Maverick. You can't pass up an opportunity like this. Let's talk about it, man. Both these women are pretty much same in the age 32 to 30. Same in the height 5'5", you know. But when it comes down to it, this is Tracy Cortez division. Rose Namajunas, I think this is only her second fight in this division. Tracy Cortez is on an 11-fight win streak. The gambling odds got Rose Namajunas as a minus 225 favorite. Rightfully right? Yes, of course. That's what they're going to say. She was the former champion and everything. Held the belts. You know, had great performances. Fights with JJ. Fight with Zaylee Wang. Everything. You know, I can't knock her at all. Jessica Andrade. The fight IQ. The fight resume. Got to go with Rose Namajunas. The striking. Got to go with Rose Namajunas, you know. But I ain't betting Rose Namajunas, man. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I've been betting on Tracy Cortez since 2018 in Invicta, and I ain't stopping now, man. She's my most profitable woman to ever bet on, and she hasn't let me down. Certain times I even doubled up on her, man. I remember certain spots she was a minus 220 and the line came down to minus 170 and I'm doubling up. Look, she trains a Fight Ready gym. That's one of the better gyms out there in Arizona. Just one of the better gyms in MMA, period. She's been listening to her coaches, listening to her trainers, and I think it's her time. Why? She took the time off that she needed to improve where she had weaknesses is. That was her striking. She went over there to Brazil and trained with the Pitbull brothers there. They're the guys in Bellator, you know, that were holding the belts and stuff like that. She picked up her striking and came back and transformed that. And man, she improved a lot, folks. This is the thing, though. Her last fight, she showcased that against Jasmine. The way that she was holding her stance, the way that she was striking, the amount of volume that she put out. But sometimes when people find something new, they go against what they know, and that's old. And that's what she does good, too, and that's wrestling. In that last fight, she wasn't really going for takedowns against Jasmine. I think in this fight, she should be able to mix them both in. If the striking ain't there, if she ain't able to hit her in there and get her in the body, I think she's going to be able to mix in the wrestling and use the takedowns. I think she's going to listen to her corner the most she ever did in between rounds and really go with the game plan. This is her time, folks. I bet her. Tracy Cortez, plus 190. And I think she finishes her inside the distance. She doesn't have any finishes in the UFC. I get it. But this is the time. I think it is, man. Rose Namajunas, though. I'm not here to say anything bad about her, to say she's a bad fighter or anything. I just think that this is not her weight class. I think as a minus 220 favorite, you know, that's a little bit too high for my liking too. And then on top of it, I just got the saying of 3 G's in life. You stick to your gut, you stick to your guns, and you stick with your guys and your girls. Tracy Cortez been one of my girls I've been betting on, so I'm gonna keep it going on this one, man. I think she gets it done in here. That's my card for you guys. UFC Denver, MMA locker room here, man. Let's go ahead and give you guys a parlay to get you guys paid, okay? All right, man. The 2-leg parlay that I like. Let's go ahead and get it started. All right, let's go ahead and give you AbdulRazak Khazan, and then we're gonna go with Christian Rodriguez, okay? 2-leg parlay to get you paid. Everybody, if you guys are watching this video right now, hit the like button for me and hit the comments up for us right here. MMA locker room, UFC bet with me. It's us against the bookies. Let's take them out.